Trevor, in this offense, what's been the biggest change in the 8-game win streak? Are Jags fans waiting for a bit of a turn into a pumpkin moment, or is this really talent the folks saw when they drafted him out of college?
Oh, unquestionably, everybody in town is waiting for that other shoe to drop on Trevor Lawrence because it's without question. I mean, we've seen it before. He played great the second half 22, early 23, tailed off a bit, and then got hurt, a bunch of injuries over the next 2 years. But yeah, there is that sense. But the thing of it is that early in the season when he had some issues with that offense, he's trying to learn the new offense. It's his third offense in his 5 years here. It's a complicated scheme, more complicated than the first offenses that he had to learn. A lot of times there's two calls in the play, two play calls in the huddle. So he's coming up there, and if you watch some of the early games, those guys were having a hard time lining up, like De'Ami Brown, Travis Hunter. He's having to move guys around while he's trying to figure out what he's seeing pre-snap defense, figure out, do I need to change the play, and all that kind of stuff. And then you had the issues with the drops that I talked about before. So it was not exactly conducive to great quarterback play. They get through the first half of the season. They make those changes with Brian Thomas Jr. moving Parker Washington in. They get Jacoby Myers, which on trade deadline day, that was probably, if you were ranking the trades 1 to 100 of importance, that was probably 99. Right now, it's probably number 1, to be honest with you, because they got a guy that he just instantly developed chemistry with. The one thing that, look, quarterbacks love, the guy's supposed to run a 7-yard route. They don't cut it off at 6.5. They don't run at 7.5. And he is always in the spot that he is supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. And that trust level grew exponentially. And if you watch the Jags and the way Trevor's played the last 8 weeks compared to the first, 5 or 6 or 7, he was waiting for guys to get open. There wasn't a lot of anticipatory throws there. He wasn't throwing guys open. They play that game against Houston. Jacoby's on the team. I think that's his first game. And Liam Cohen, the Monday, Tuesday after the Houston game, Trevor had their weekly meeting, and he goes, just cut it loose. Let it rip. Quit. Just throw it. If you make a mistake, we'll deal with it. And it's not as simple to say that flip the switch. But if you remember, he going into last year, he had the most turnovers of any player since he came into the league. It was like 60 turnovers. And that was the constant message in his head every offseason. Stop turning the ball over. Don't turn the ball over. You're killing us. You're killing us. Don't turn the ball over. So when he gets that pep talk or whatever you want to call it from Liam Cohen, it's the last little sort of like Lego together, and boom, everything just sort of kind of fit. And now he's making the anticipatory throws. He's throwing guys open. He's trusting those guys. They're using, like I said before, those guys in different roles. Brian Thomas stretch the field outside. It's just everything's working. And then you add in Liam Cohen as a play caller, and you've got a really good recipe for a high-level quarterback play. We saw it with Baker, obviously, last year. Career high, 41 touchdown passes when Liam Cohen was the offensive coordinator in Tampa last year. He has to do it over longer than 8 games. I mean, we have to see him do this for an entire season in 2026 before I think everybody around here will say that's the prince that was promised.
It was promised. He's a great dude. He's tough as fuck too. He really is.
Yeah.
I can tell you, there's a fun story about, it's not so much fun for me. I feel kind of like a twat, but we were playing Philadelphia Eagles in 2024, and it's one of those close games we had, and he scrambles and kind of goes down, kind of gives one of these, gets up, and we're on this long drive, and we get to a 3rd and 1, and our favorite play was the QB sneak. We would just go, and it was pretty automatic, and he looks to the sideline, we get a play, it's not the QB sneak, we do it, and we don't get it, and I just kind of get in his grill. I'm like, hey, man, I use some choice words. I'm like, let's do this QB sneak, and he's just like, okay. And then I'm like, all right, cool. And then I look at him like, that's why we can do it. And then we do it again later. It turns out I had asked a man to do 3 QB sneaks that drive whose bone was sticking out from a grade 5 AC joint. And he didn't say a word. The man's a dog, and that's why his team loves him. Casey, you got any more questions for us?
I do. We just got a fresh one here from Matt. Hey, Matt, this is Mark Bouchard. This is who it's from Syracuse. Do you think Bosa and Rousseau will be able to pressure Trevor enough? Thanks for the question, Matt.
They have to. And I think one of the big components of this game is I know that the left tackle, I think he said earlier this week he's going to play. But if he isn't able to go, or if he's not 100% in this game, and it ends up being Walker Little that plays at left tackle, that could be a huge advantage Buffalo, especially for Joey Bosa. I think this could be a big Joey Bosa game regardless of who's playing. This is what they brought him here for. He's finally healthy. Dealt with a hand injury. He's wearing a club on his right hand for probably about 4 weeks. Missed a game or two. Sat out last week, and I also think that Greg Rousseau is a guy that they extended in the offseason. He's never had 10 or more sacks. He's never been the big, headline grabbing edge rusher, but he is a problem, especially in the run game. He sets the edge really well. When the Bills do send some of these different looks in terms of their blitz packages, he's the one that a lot of times can clean some things up and make things really messy for quarterbacks. So I think can they? Yes. Do they have to for the Bills to have success in this game? I think they do. I think the way the Bills have, deployed their resources over the last couple of off seasons has been to build things up front, and they got a lot of draft picks on the line. They got a lot of free agent additions on the line. And I think that in this game, you have to make sure that at the point of attack on both sides of the ball, your group is winning more than the other group. And I think when they went out and they signed Ryan Nielsen, he's been really good as like a
crossover.
He's like an adult in the room kind of thing. Like I hate saying that because Marcus West is a good dude. I'm sure he's a really good coach. I'm sure the guys love him in the room. But Ryan Nielsen's a guy that's developed like legit scary edge rushers in this league. And you could see the impact that he's had on a lot of the young players, but also like guys like Rousseau and Epinesa that have been here for a couple of years. So I think that line is going to be really important this weekend.
And there's nothing I can do about it.